50 Cent just released never-before-seen footage of Sean Diddy Combs in his Netflix documentary. And Diddy is scrambling to get the show taken down. New details of Diddy's crimes and allegedly how his mother was helping him and controlling everything are now coming out. Diddy's mom, Janice, might just be the reason behind Diddy becoming a monster.
In the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September,
You want to put the stuff in my fanny back in?
the exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what nobody said. Let's just, here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
Netflix released their documentary, Sean Combs: The Reckoning, this week, and in this 4-part documentary series, 50 Cent exposed Diddy like never before. Somehow, 50 Cent got his hands on exclusive footage that Diddy recorded. This footage showed Diddy talking to his lawyers and telling them he needs the dirtiest people around him. 50 also brought in insiders from Diddy's life and some of his closest friends, all of whom gave insights into Diddy no one could have predicted.
So let's start at the top with the hotel video, which I did a double take because I thought, wait a minute, isn't this 50's documentary? What is he doing with video from inside Diddy's hotel room, which clearly looks to be sanctioned by Diddy? It almost looks like Diddy was shooting a documentary. He thought this whole thing might go away and just wanted to have some really good content for afterwards. How the hell did this video get in the hands of 50 Cent, the arch nemesis of Diddy?
Well, I think it was delivered legally, supposedly what they're saying. I think what happened was that when he did this video in the hotel, he was probably thinking that he was going to probably be acquitted and he was going to probably get out and he could probably run back his last days that before he got arrested so he can use that for some footage later on. But it sort of backfired on him because now I don't think he wanted it to get out. And plus, he's in an appeal process right now where he's trying to get out from under this. He's still appealing his case, and this sort of brings back old memories, you know?
Let me ask you this, Derek. Somebody real close to Diddy was holding that camera because Diddy didn't have people in his inner circle, in his hotel room, saying things like this unless they were close to him. And yet, whoever owns that copyright, whoever had their hands on that video, did him dirty, you know, and gave it to his enemy. Why and how do you think that happened?
Well, I think the person that probably did the video footage wanted to get some recognition for having that type of footage. And I think, I don't know if they signed a no-compete clause or an NDA, but that person turned that over apparently, and it went to 50 for the documentary, which he used.
50 went all the way back to Diddy's childhood to understand just how he became the monster we see today, and the things he found were shocking. Diddy's childhood friend, Tim Patterson, revealed that Combs' father was a drug dealer in Harlem and was murdered when Combs was a toddler. After his death, Combs' mother, Janice, began hosting parties at their home, and in these parties, Diddy was exposed to adult activities. In Sean's household, you'd start to see all the stuff that you saw in the movies. Janice knew how to throw a party, and the parties were packed. Tim Patterson revealed it was because of these parties that Diddy ended up losing his virginity when he was just 12.
Remember when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs? Mm-hmm. All right, so tomorrow Peacock is dropping. According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having sex. I mean, that was just their normal. And the doc, when talking about the parties, Tim says, verbatim, that's what we were privy to. This was what we were fed. Was it desensitizing us?
Diddy's dad was a criminal, and after his death, his mom decided to take over. The only difference was that the kinds of crimes she was involved with were different. Tim claims that as a child, he saw the kinds of parties Janice was throwing, and the things she did were what Diddy later copied. There was a stage in her living room, literally a stage, and that's where we used to have to go and dance. At the same time, Diddy's mom was also physically abusive towards him and would violently beat Diddy under the influence of drugs.
You got to realize that, he didn't get all this from his daddy, because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big-time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You got to realize, man, his mother had a modeling agency, and it was alleged that it was also Ladies of the Night, a prostitution ring too, or these ladies was doing things other than modeling. So the apple don't fall far from the tree. Yeah. So now you got to understand this, and looking at her and some of the stuff that he was saying, and their relationship has changed since I knew them, since I was around them. You understand? This man was talking about that his mother could take her palms and bend over and put them down on the floor. Not bend over, but she could stand straight up and put her palms on the floor, bruh. He's saying that about his mother. Who describes any of their mother actions like that in a sexual way? And then, I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in their mouth when they 50, 60 years old or something like that.
Diddy's mom literally shaped him into the criminal he is today. She would tell him to be aggressive and to never back down. Janice's real contribution, however, came when Diddy decided to use her as the person in charge of Bad Boy. Diddy knew that sooner or later, someone could come after his money, so he signed everything over to her.
This is somebody who will do anything to basically get what he wants. He doesn't really care what effects or damage that causes to other people. And it's in different ways, right? Whether it's in the context of alleged business disputes, alleged sexual things that have been alleged in the civil lawsuits against him. And I think with Burroughs, it was really, kind of seemed to strike that theme as well, because he's saying, he had forced me out of the stake of my company. He had to deal with things like homelessness, while in the 2000s and 2010s, Diddy was really prospering, music, business, fashion. And one of the things that he had said, what he alleged in the documentary, and again, this is an allegation from him, was that the name Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs's name was not really involved in that on the corporate side. And one of the things he's saying is the reason for that was to avoid having to pay any liability from, the devastating basketball game that had happened in the early 90s, where he was the subject of wrongful death lawsuits because of the multiple deaths that had occurred as a result of that basketball game that Diddy was behind organizing. So that was really, surprising to hear.
The documentary also gave an insight into Diddy's role in the death of 9 people during a stampede back in 1991. On Saturday, the 28th of December 1991, Diddy organized a charity celebrity basketball game at City College, but didn't hire any security. Before the game could even start, a crowd started rushing in, resulting in a stampede that killed 9 people. Multiple people warned Diddy before the game, but Diddy didn't care. This event is what led to Diddy using his mom for his business dealings.
So the backstory is that he didn't appreciate the friendship that was forming between Biggie and Tupac, and therefore, that's where his alleged involvement came in. And then when, in terms of the non-payment, I think that was also a really shocking moment as well, because that's something we saw happening over and over in the documentary. Multiple people who were saying, I was cheated out of my share in the company. I wasn't paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. And allegedly, that's sort of how he treated the artists that were on his label. So again, it's the theme of always wanting to be number one and, not necessarily giving people their due, business sense or personal sense.
Gene Deal was there on the day of the stampede, and he told Diddy that this was dangerous. According to Gene Deal, it was Diddy's fault that people died, and he needs to be held responsible for what he did.
I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside, with my dogs like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders, you understand? You know, we had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there, I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people would start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro.
Diddy is only the face of Bad Boy. His mom is the one who actually holds the power. According to the interviews and the footage 50 Cent surfaced, Janice was one of the gatekeepers of Bad Boy's money and a manager of its messes. Insiders say Diddy signed over critical documents to her, not merely out of filial duty, but as a calculated move to shield assets and maintain deniability.
She is Bad Boy. You think it's Diddy, it's Janice Combs. Janice Combs is Bad Boy. You don't actually sign to Diddy. His name is on a dotted line, but you actually sign it to Janice Combs.
Did he ever tell you why that is, or do you understand?
Oh, now that I'm older, I know exactly what it is. It's a paper trail, so nothing can come bite me. If you come for me, you ain't coming for me. I ain't got nothing. You going to my mama. Good luck with that.
The shocking thing here is that after Diddy's father died, his mother actually started telling Diddy how he was the man of the house, and according to reports from some of Diddy's closest childhood friends, Diddy actually developed an inappropriate relationship with his mother. Gene Deal even told everyone that he suspected that there was more to Diddy's relationship with his mother than meets the eye. Diddy's mom knew that Diddy was running freak-offs because she was a regular at all the parties. Gene saw her there, and he saw the way Diddy behaved with her. Janice was the one who taught Diddy how to do these things.
But why you believe she knew about the freak-offs?
Because one of the witnesses said she was there. And do you remember this, bro? Check it out. People tell off on themselves so much, man, and I don't understand when people don't catch it. Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. That people have to take IVs. Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy freak-off party. And I'm gonna say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak-off or no?
I think that she liked to party, and she partied with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige, or they emulated her. The blonde hair, the nails, the high boots, the age-appropriate, inappropriate clothing.
The documentary also looked into a much more extreme allegation: how Diddy was responsible for the murder of both Tupac and Biggie, two of the biggest names in hip-hop. Interviews were conducted with detectives who were actually assigned to Tupac's case, and they alleged that there was overwhelming evidence that Diddy was involved, but they were never able to prosecute because almost everyone Diddy worked with was too scared to snitch.
Let me ask you this. I get it. When you have a case that's 5 years old, it's hard to get overwhelming evidence that meets the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. When you have cases this old, no matter what Fiddy has found out and put in this documentary, do you see it at all ever possible that Diddy could be involved in a murder trial when it comes to Biggie and Tupac?
It could be possible, yes. However, like I said, they need a lot of corroboration to make that stick, because it's really alleged right now as to his involvement. It's not anything that's substantial or concrete that he was involved. It's personally from people talking about it and saying this is what happened. You need some more information to come forward to prove that.
After Tupac's death, Diddy is the one who forced Biggie to go to LA. Biggie was scheduled to go to London, and he knew that something bad was going to happen if he went to LA, but Diddy forced him anyway. Later, Diddy forced him to stay and go to a party where Biggie was then shot and killed. After Biggie's death, Diddy became the face of hip-hop and one of the most powerful music executives in America.
View that Puffy did with Fat Joe, where he was talking about Biggie in his last moments in LA, and he told Fat Joe that he didn't want to go to LA, he actually wanted to go to London. But Biggie, he was the one that wanted to go to LA, and he was the one that was pushing to go to LA.
That's not true. My name is Kirk Burrows. I ran Bad Boy Entertainment. I helped co-found it. I created the company with him. I raised from general manager to president. And at that time, I put all of those business plans together. And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, ended up going. What got him out there was a week ahead of time to ease him into the whole award show. He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever a rapper of your stature getting this treatment, that would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night. A part of the posturing of not only did we come to the award show, not only am I recording my album out here, and Big is gonna help me with some of the writing and maybe do something out here where me and him did this song in LA. I'm out on the town. And it was just too much. You ever heard of someone doing too much?
The only person who could implicate Diddy is Keefe D. Keefe D, aka Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, is a former Southside Compton Crips gang member who was charged in connection with the 1996 Tupac Shakur. Last year, Keefe D filed court papers in a Nevada court claiming that Diddy was actually the person responsible for Tupac's death, as he paid Keefe to murder him. Keefe said Diddy offered him $1 million in exchange for Suge Knight and Tupac's heads, but never actually paid.
But the motion to dismiss also says that Davis was offered immunity during the Biggie Smalls investigation in the early 2000s. The filing reads, the 3 LAPD and FBI agents were part of a task force to solve the shooting of rapper Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, legal name Christopher Wallace. The task force, through a sophisticated criminal investigation, obtained sufficient evidence that would prove Mr. Davis was the leader of the Southside Crips and his gang was responsible for over 360 kilos of cocaine and PCP. Mr. Davis provided 3 interviews to obtain immunity from prosecution. The final interview were solely questions regarding the Tupac Shakur shooting, in which Mr. Davis was also provided immunity from prosecution. So during a December 2008 interview with investigators, that is when Davis allegedly started to spill the beans about his one-time friend, Sean Combs, who he refers to as Puffy. He claims Sean Puffy Combs solicited Mr. Davis to kill Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur for $1 million. Eric Zip Martin, an associate of Puffy Combs, provided Mr. Davis with a gun to exact revenge on Tupac Shakur for the beating Mr. Anderson received. Now, Davis reportedly told the investigators that even though the job had been partially completed and Shakur was killed, Neither he nor Anderson ever got paid. He later revealed that he believes Combs had paid the go-between Zip Martin, who he claims kept the money for himself. And he said much of the same thing in a 2009 interview a year later, because according to the motion to dismiss, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, as far back as 2009, was in possession of the same set of facts that the Clark County District Attorney is now alleging makes Mr. Davis responsible for the murder of Tupac Shakur. The Clark County District Attorney's Office has offered no reason as to why it waited another 14 years to prosecute a case against Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis has been irreversibly prejudiced by this unnecessary delay in prosecution of this case, and Mr. Davis's constitutional rights have been violated in an extraordinary manner never before witnessed in the annals of the American criminal justice system.
Netflix even got their hands on the jurors that were connected to this trial, and let's just say, these jurors are the only reason Diddy got away. One of the jurors was actually a fan of Diddy, and it's almost impossible that she wasn't fangirling over him during the trial. Kirk Burrows, co-founder of Bad Boy, said the same thing.
Diddy Juror 160 that we saw in 50 Cent's Netflix documentary actually gave me off vibes from the very start of Diddy's trial. After her opening her mouth on this Netflix documentary, it confirms my suspicions that much more. They always say that picking the jury is what could possibly make or break a case. And I think Diddy and his legal team knew that they wanted Juror 160 on this jury. With Diddy's $1 million legal team, he actually hired a jury consultant who is very good at what she does. And what she does is profile the jurors. She looks at everything, their body movements, the way they talk, and she puts it together, picking the people that she believes might be most helpful to Diddy during his trial. One interaction that stood out to me the most during this jury selection process is the fact that Diddy smiled at Juror 160. During the jury selection process, it was reported by multiple different media outlets that Juror 160 said, "I wish I knew the names of the celebrities that were on the list that were going to be brought up during Diddy's trial." And it was reported that when she said that, Diddy smiled. And Diddy most likely smiled about this because she said she wished she knew these celebrities that were being named. That shows that she's pretty much kind of fangirling over celebrities. She wished she knew them, which a lot of people, even myself, feel like this is the vibe that she gave off during her interview on the Netflix documentary. It really threw me for a loop when she brought up the fact that she didn't believe that Diddy was actually nodding at the jury. She just thinks it was a nod that he would normally do because she watched Diddy on Making the Band.
Believe it or not, but the jurors actually described Diddy and Cassie as being two lovers. Like, imagine being so starstruck that you can't see that a woman is being abused. Cassie testified on the stand while she was pregnant. There was even video footage showing Diddy beating Cassie, but the jurors just didn't care.
The four-part series also features two jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict, finding Combs guilty of two offenses, but clear of racketeering and sex trafficking charges, both sharing their thoughts on the relationship between Combs and singer Cassie. Juror 75 describing them as two people in love, and Juror 160 saying in part, domestic violence wasn't one of the charges. Cassie, is she a victim in all this?
I believe Cassie's a victim in all this because she came in as she's like 18, like 19 years old. In the very beginning, after a while, over time, you condition for it.
The goal of what the film is trying to do is to let the audience kind of come in to ask questions like, were their decisions colored by certain things, and who got the benefit of the doubt, in that courtroom?
Do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip-hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth in it.
Diddy is getting ready to sue 50 Cent and Netflix. He's desperately trying to get the documentary taken down. Interestingly, the only reason 50 was able to get his hands on this footage was because Diddy was too cheap to pay the videographer. If Diddy had paid his employees on time, this documentary would have never gotten made. Diddy's legal team has a cease and desist letter to Netflix.
It's not surprising that Sean Combs and his team are not happy about this, okay? Which now we go back to the C&D letter, the cease and desist letter that Combs' lawyers sent to Netflix's chief legal officer. That's what I want to focus on now. Okay, so according to attorney Michael Tremonti, they had already sent a cease and desist letter to the streaming service in July of 2024. This is before Combs was even indicted. But now they send this new letter on December 1st, the day before the documentary was set to be released, and essentially calling it a hit piece. Quote, "First, Netflix's promotion of the program as a documentary is fundamentally misleading. In truth, the program is a hit piece. It was conceived and produced by Curtis James Jackson, aka 50 Cent, whose irrational fixation on destroying Mr. Combs' reputation is a matter of public record. The evidence of Mr. Jackson's vicious animus against Mr. Combs is overwhelming. He has been trolling Mr. Combs on the internet and social media for years and has made a career of attempting to defame, belittle, and provoke Mr. Combs and turn the public against him. We provided ample evidence of Mr. Jackson's avowed hatred of Mr. Combs in our prior cease and desist letter dated July 3rd, 2024, and since that time, Mr. Jackson's determination to take down Mr. Combs has increased dramatically. Simply put, there is no one less able to view any aspect of Mr. Combs' life and legacy through a fair and objective lens. Given Mr. Jackson's central role in the project and his declared objective of disgracing Mr. Combs, Netflix cannot honestly market the program as a documentary, as that term falsely suggests it is based on facts. Instead, the program is based on fabrications born from Mr. Jackson's personal vendetta against Mr. Combs. For this reason alone, Netflix must withdraw the program. Now, to be clear, recently, 50 Cent, who's been doing a media tour for this, has said, I don't have any hatred against Sean Combs. I've actually worked with and employed his sons. And so he tried to beat back against that narrative. Now, according to Tremonti, Netflix had actually been in talks with Combs to make a show about him before the sudden cratering of his career. Quote, in or about 2023, CEO Ted Sarandos proposed that Netflix produce a documentary about Mr. Combs. However, Mr. Combs rejected the proposal when Mr. Sarandos insisted he give up creative control. Thus, the choice of Mr. Jackson to produce the program was Netflix's vindictive response to that rejection, an attempt by Netflix and Mr. Sarandos to ensure a one-sided character assassination rather than a balanced and accurate portrayal.
The documentary isn't just exposing a celebrity, it's unraveling the roots of a legacy built on secrets, manipulation, and a family history darker than anyone expected. This story is far from over. And the more that comes out, the closer we get to finally understanding who Sean Combs really is. Stay tuned.